Hello everybody, it's time for an update, and I'm going to start out today by showing you my compost. I used kitchen scraps, a bag of lawn cutting grass, and a chunk of log that was so rotten that it crumbled in your hands. And a couple weeks ago, the level was all the way up to the top, and so you can tell something's going on. It's breaking down, and so I just wanted to show you that. One question I have for anybody out there is compost okay to use in this condition, or do you have to wait for it to be well composted until it turns black? I'm wondering if this is usable right now in its current state, or if I have to wait because I'm new to this composting thing. That's my question. Anyway, that's enough of that. I'll show you what I've been up to today. The peppers are going in the ground, and I'll bring you up to my vegetable garden area. Here it is. I'm using these totes again. Last year I thought I wouldn't, but I decided I'll make more boxes like this for next year. I'm using these this year again, and there is benefits of using these. They're cheap, they're easy, you can store them away. You can put 2 plants per container. You just plant like 1 plant here and 1 plant here, and they've got plenty of room. And if the plants start getting too crowded, you can spread them out, you can spread them apart. So there's definitely benefits to growing with these containers, or 5-gallon buckets work good too. But because they don't really look very nice, and because of pressure from my wife, I will be transforming over to something like this next year. So this will be the last year I use these. Here are the pepper plants. I have been taking them outside. I've been giving them like 1 hour direct sunlight, and then take them out of the sun, and then later put them back in the sun for an hour. All I'm trying to do by doing that is prevent them from getting sunburn. And so far I don't see any signs of sunburn, so I think it's been going good. I've been doing that technique all week long now. I started out the first day, Monday. They came out for an hour in the sun, and then I put them in the shade. Second day, 2 hours in the sun, then shade, and so on until today. I had them out probably 2 hours in the sun, hour in the shade, another 2 hours in the sun. Basically just trying to get them used to the direct hot sunshine. And today was 90 degrees in May. 90 degrees in May is, in my state, is pretty unusual. So here's the size of the plants. They've done really good. When I plant these, I'm going to bury the stem again, and I'm going to bury it up to about here, another 4 or 5 inches or so. So these are my pepper plants. The next view you'll see of these will be in these totes. The big wooden garden over there, raised bed, is for my tomatoes, and these are my tomatoes. I planted these like April 26th or something, around that area. I find that it's not necessary to grow tomatoes to a very large size before you put them out. I've had great success planting tomatoes this size in my region. They do just fine. Once you get these in the ground, they grow very, very quickly. And this is the first time I've used the other method I developed where you just plant a whole bunch in one cup. I'm going to use that same separating method I showed you on my earlier video. I think it was video 4, something like that. So that's what I'm going to do. And then all the extras that I have, and I will have a lot of extras, I've got 2 or 3 neighbors that they will be getting these tomatoes, so I don't have to throw anything away. These are my Jamaican hot chocolates, doing very nice. I've got 2 in each cup right now because when I transplanted these they were still pretty small, but they're doing really well now, and they will be going in the ground. And I got at least one neighbor who wants to grow habaneros, so they will get the other 2. I must admit, these plants don't necessarily look that good, but that doesn't matter. I'll show you how a ratty little plant like this will grow just fine. So, oh yeah, there is one more thing. I've had big problems with blossom end rot, especially with my tomatoes, but with my peppers too. I put an entire bag of this bone meal in this planter here, in this raised bed. I should call it a raised bed, shouldn't I? An entire bag, and I'm going to use the rest of this bag for my peppers in these containers. And one other thing is, I went to the store today to pick up manure because that's been kind of my standard thing, and this dark layer on here, that's the manure I put in there, and I'm stirring it in. I'm currently stirring it in with this fork, this pitchfork, just kind of stirring it in. And you know, I found out they don't sell just plain manure anymore. It's manure and compost mixed together, and I don't know if it's always been like that, but I personally would have liked just a big bag of manure, but apparently I can't get that, so I did what I could. And I put in some blood meal too. I had a bag in my shed similar in size to that bone meal bag that I showed you, and I've put probably about half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of that in each tote, and the rest of it I threw in here. And then I hope I can use my compost later as a supplement. So for now, until they go in the ground, that's all I had to say. Okay, so the peppers are in. These are the Jamaican hot chocolates. It's been 80 degrees or 90 degrees yesterday and high 80s today. And not ideal conditions for planting. I would never recommend anybody planting in those temperatures, but I felt like I had to because this is the time of year you got to do it, and so we'll see how it goes. I probably should have planted these last week. It was a bit cooler, but that's the way it goes. These are my tomatoes. Here we got black cherry, a Roma style tomato called Rocky. This variety is called Sue. This is Early Wonder, and this is First Prize. I try to grow a few of those every year. Those look really nice. They taste good. And I've got a one called Prairie Fire right there. That's an early one. I'll get tomatoes from that before I get anything else. And these are my leftovers that I will be giving to my neighbors. I did the same process. If you saw my previous video with the tomatoes that I did with my peppers, and something happened. I'll have to report on it. I had these tomatoes out. I was hardening them off in the sun, and it was windy, and evidently the wind had twisted some of these plants right off their roots. And this is what happens when in the first stages of growing, if you let those seedlings get too tall, and by too tall I mean over like an inch and a half, because this one was probably like 2 inches. This is what happens. But all is not lost. I'm going to take this out of direct light. I'm going to put it in water, which I already have it in, and it's going to sprout new roots out of this part right here. And so in about a week, all will be good. And have I ever mentioned that beer is a very important part of gardening? Oh well. Now, I want to mention something about commenters on my YouTube. 99.9% of the comments on my YouTube have been positive. And there's a 0.1% that seems to have a problem with the way I do my videos. And it goes like this. I'm paraphrasing. They say, "I really like your videos, but why do you have to talk about religion? It just ruins everything. You should leave that out of your videos." And my response to that is, I make my videos my way. And if you don't like it, tough shit. So there we have it. Stay tuned. I would like to give a shout out, as my youngest daughter calls it, to a YouTube viewer of mine, and his name is The Rasta Rick. And the reason why I've subscribed to a lot of videos, a lot of channels that is, and I like his because he's kind of like me. You can tell he's very genuinely passionate about his plants. He lives in Florida. From what I can tell, his soil in his yard is very, very, very poor, and he can correct me on that if I'm wrong. But he's got his own techniques too, and I invite you to check out his channel as well, because I live up here in Minnesota and he lives down there in Florida, so you'll get different points of view, different ways of doing things, I suppose, different techniques. But anyway, there you have it.